Reusse Unchained on SKOR North. So, man, I can't even scroll fast enough to keep up. We've already had an historic blockbuster Anthony
Yes.
Davis for Luka Doncic this weekend, and now there's a bunch of steam that the Warriors are desperately trying to get Kevin Durant back. And then I just saw this from Sam Amick says the Warriors have internally discussed trading Draymond Green in the next 24 hours. If Golden State makes a seismic trade, Draymond could be out. The Wolves may or may not be involved in something in the shadows here too, Pat. It's crazy, crazy week.
I think Draymond for Jimmy Butler would be a good trade. Two psychopaths, that is, two sociopaths traded for one another. Wouldn't that be a great trade?
So
And
Jimmy has apparently rejected a bunch of different possible because he has a no trade clause. He is essentially saying, "I want to go to Phoenix, make it happen, or I will continue to make your life hell, Miami Heat."
yeah, well, then you just keep suspending him and not paying him, right?
Right.
I mean, what that I guess part of the appeal if the NBA is 20% of them are crazy. Doesn't that help? And let me tell you this, by the way, Luka trade fantastically large. I'd rather have De'Aaron Fox than him. I'll tell you that. I'd
Wow,
rather
that
have
is a
him.
take.
I would rather
Wow.
have him. He plays for one thing, and he's in shape, and he's got more. He's twice as quick. Luca can shoot like nobody else and do a lot of things, but I'd rather have Fox. I love Fox, and I think that was thievery right there. Getting him in San Antonio was fantastic.
Well, yeah, I mean, think about Wemby, De'Aaron Fox plus Wemby, and then
Uh-huh.
whatever else they can put around those guys is. But so
Well,
Luka, that is wild that the Mavericks decided A, we're done with him, but
yeah,
B, we're so done with him that we just like we're gonna talk to
gave him
one
away.
team, and all the first round picks teams just throw in like 3 or 4 first round picks for Rudy and Bridges,
Yeah.
and it's the whole thing. There's Anthony Edwards said a couple nights ago, someone should do some digging on this because there's got to be more to the why here.
Well, and there's a lot of stuff now on the very reliable internet about how sick of him they were, that he was out of shape, and but it's not like he's been missing. Anthony, Davis has missed more games than him in the last 5 years for sure,
Yeah.
right?
Although the last
So
2 years, Davis has been like 90% of the games he's played in the last couple years. But
I got a
yeah,
question for you. How come uh, we're playing a team tonight that was involved in the trades and their players aren't ready to play here yet? Did they get very slow airplanes, or are they not? Are the
no,
No,
have the
they're
trades
driving,
not
Pat.
it's
have
Oregon.
the
It's the Oregon Trail actually. They're
have the
horse and carriage.
trades not been improved yet? I mean,
Well, they've
what is
improved.
it? I don't get it, huh?
I don't know.
Where
I
the
thought the
hell
same
are they?
Are
thing.
they hitchhiking?
Well, and it's not star players either. It's not like,
No,
it's
you
Trey
know.
Jones. God bless him. He's from here. But you would think he could come back here and play a game for the Bulls
His
tonight.
Yeah,
Spirit
I
flight
know.
got
You'd think
canceled.
he'd wanna. You'd think he'd wanna come back home and play. Hey, I'm still alive, and you still need a point guard here. By the way,
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe I'll play good tonight, and you'll want to trade for me before the trade deadline. So
Yeah.
yeah, it is the screwball league of all time. And has there ever been a year here with our Woofies where we are up and down as often on them as we are right now? We were high on them. We're low on them.
Yeah.
They've won 5 in a row. They've finally figured it out, and now they threw up in monumental fashion 2 straight games. One team that's the worst in history, the Wizards. By the way, the Wizards are now 2-0 in their last 2 games, while we're
That's right.
0-2.
That's
But
exactly.
but B, then the other team comes in here and they don't have half their team and they still beat us. So it's an incredible 12, and you mentioned this the other day though, Phil. They're 12-12 at home. 12-12 at home. What the hell is going on here?
Well, actually, we just talked about this on Flagrant Howls. So you got a couple new, like Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels. You got some new fathers on the team.
Oh
And
God,
Mike Conley said, and he said
I
it with a
saw
smile,
that.
but he
I
said the
saw
first
that.
6 to 7 months are really tough on athletes trying to sleep. You look forward to the road trips because it's the first time you can sleep again. I'll tell you, Anthony Edwards' road numbers versus home are he's averaging like 5 points per game more on the road, and he's shooting like 46% from three on the road. So maybe Mike Conley is onto the problem here.
Yeah, and so he is living with this gal that publicly fathered his child, right? He's living
Yes,
with her. Okay, the older gal who used to date who was her boyfriend before? Another NBA guy, right?
I'm not sure.
The other one, this one. But well, you know, he's not only got that one to worry about. There might be more on the way for all we know. So anyway, it's yeah. I mean, he fits the screwball category. But when you got to start when you're making as much money as them and you can't get your sleep, I got an idea. Nanny, take the kid into another room, rent a different apartment for the kid and the nanny, and get your sleep. That's
What if
my
that's the
idea.
what if that's the problem? The Wolves nanny budget is way too low. Actually it's part of the second apron restrictions. They restrict
Yes,
your
right.
nanny
Yeah.
budget so you perform more poorly at home.
I don't know. I mean, right now it's a fun league. That's for sure. This is crazy stuff. But what Julius groin, if it's as bad as Kaprizov, even how are you going to trade him
It's
for
2 weeks now, right? They just announced today.
Two
2
weeks and then a
weeks?
reevaluation. So not even it's a
But
month, right?
considering the results without him, have we been underrating his value?
Well, yeah, he's a good
Yeah,
player. Like, and he's a 6 foot big man who can score and rebound and distribute. It's who's
yeah,
their third big man now? It's Luca Garza, and that's
yes,
pretty
that's
much it.
right. Yeah, now Luca, we're all saying, why not? We need Luca. Let's play Luca. But now, Luca, you have to not only play, you have to do something,
Yeah,
and that's a little bit of a different situation. But I don't know, boy. But you're looking at the box scores now. The guy in trouble is Minot, right? They won't play him, right? The other day.
he's in the doghouse.
He's
That's
the.
okay.
I wonder if they had a little bigger locker room there, a little bigger locker room. They could have a little ante room in there that could be called Finchie's Doghouse, and then you could just have like Dillingham would be in there once in a while, and
Yeah.
Minot would be in there, and then somebody else that he won't play would be in there. But up and down on a team, well, Timberwolves team, because we're usually just down on them, right? The
We don't
season
care.
starts and you don't expect anything.
Right.
And then last year we were up on them all year, right? Damn near, very few bad losses. To the 2 years ago, they were going to make the playoffs, which was good, but they had some bad losses. But we were not like over the moon high on them like we are now. But I don't remember a year when we were up and down on a team like this one. It's incredible. And five. How about what if you have a 5 game homestand and you run the table in the wrong way?
Oh
Which is a
man.
distinct possibility when you
Well,
look at
gosh,
some
you
of the
should.
teams
I
coming in.
mean,
Who's next after that? You got Houston tomorrow night, right? It's a back to
Yeah,
back.
Houston's just lost a couple, so they're going to be
Yeah,
mad.
Houston.
They're going to come in here and play. You're going to Houston's going to beat them by 15.
Houston. You see how Houston lost last night?
Yeah.
The Nets.
That's.
D'Lo daggered them.
D'Lo's a steal at the end, right? And D'Lo
Did you
daggers them.
guys see the Nets hadn't won at home in like 2 months?
2 months. Yes.
How the hell does that happen?
Unbelievable. I don't know. I don't know.
By the way, Portland's the last team. You should at least win two of these.
Yeah.
It's
They're hot
Portland
right
coming
now.
to town
don't know if
Saturday.
They're hot right now.
Yeah.
Portland has Portland been a little better lately.
Yeah.
And then here's the problem: if you don't clean up some of these home games, you go and the All-Star game is built in here, but you go
Mhm.
at Cleveland, then you play Milwaukee, Oklahoma City, at Houston, then back-to-back Oklahoma City, at the Lakers with likely Luka and LeBron both healthy.
How much money can we scrounge up among the four of us? Can we come up with 100 grand?
For a
No.
Let's
nanny
go out.
or
Let's
Yeah.
go out to Vegas with 100 grand and bet it on Oklahoma City against these dogs. Okay, that's no matter how many points we have to give them.
Yeah.
Oklahoma City and them mismatch of all time. You know,
they're pretty
they
awesome.
they you know SGA will get 42 if he wants to. They're great. They're gonna. Slipping a little Cleveland after the fantastic start. And but anyway,
Boston
I
game.
don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know what to tell you about the
SGA is one of the
Timberwolves.
craziest rises. He's literally one of the three best players in the NBA.
Oh God, yes, and there be people. They're. I heard one of these great, national sports talk, either on us, ESPN or Fox or somebody, but about that's the big problem is the nation doesn't really know SGA and he's the best. Well, that's the nation's problem. What can the NBA do? What should they tell him? Don't be so good that you're the face of the NBA and nobody's ever heard of you. Do you want him not to be great? It's
Yeah. Well, also like
idiotic.
if that team gets to the finals, okay, now the
Then we'll
country
know.
will know who you are.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm telling Judd this Monday, though. The reason their ratings are down is the youth of America doesn't watch sporting events anymore except for the NFL. They watch highlights, they watch videos. Nobody sits down and watches a nobody under 35 sits down and watches a whole game unless they're there. That's the problem. That to me, the NBA is trying to fix a problem it doesn't have. If they come up with a is a if they come up with the 4 point shot, I'm going to join some psychotic
Militia?
right wing militia,
You're gonna
and we're
join
going
a
to try to take over the world. What the hell is wrong with you people? You know,
Didn't
play
Bill Simmons try
basketball.
this like 12 years ago on his failed HBO show? Like that was one of his big things when he had that HBO program. He was like, "I want to invent the 4 point shot. We need to implement it right now." And that was like in 2012 or 13, and it
Hmm.
never really took
Okay,
off.
okay, I gotta switch gears here right now. Rory McIlroy
There we go.
wins Sunday at beautiful Pebble Beach, and I actually ended up watching 20 minutes of golf for the first time this year at the end, right? And then last night he's on national TV hitting it into a screen, and we're supposed to watch this. And, and if
TGL, let's go, Pat.
anybody is watching this, my version of Aryan Nation's coming after you when we form it to take over sports in America. It's what is wrong with you people?
Boy, they pumped a lot of money into
Oh, they did.
indoor, like it's literally just it's famous golfers hitting balls into a simulator for
Yes.
3 hours on ESPN. Most of them are boring personalities.
Yeah, and what is the deal? Did somebody give them huge sponsorship money to do this?
It's a
Not
big group. Yeah, it's Tiger, Rory, and then like a big investment group. They were supposed to launch it a year ago, and then they had some setbacks. But they got. I mean, they have I think ESPN is paying them a rights fee. I don't think they're not getting a prime time. I don't think they're paying for the airtime. I think ESPN's paying for the rights, some sort of rights
They
fee.
were poor Scott Van Pelt last night after was trying to do it. By the way, his when he doesn't have to do stupid stuff, his sports center is great. From the LA one at 11 o'clock at night. But he had to plug that last night. Yeah, stay tuned and watch this damn thing. It's
Yeah, or Tom Kim is going to come on and do a
yes.
post
Does
simulator
does
interview
Tom
here.
does Tom Kim take 4 minutes before he hits the ball into the screen too, or
He
does he
does,
just do
yeah.
that during the? Does he just do that on the golf
Pat,
course?
I think because I ducked in a couple times on this, hoping that it's going to be entertaining. It's not, but they had one. I'm pretty sure Tom Kim and Patrick Cantlay were both like their teams were playing each other.
What
Like
do they call them? The slow mos or something? That team is unbelievable. What is going on in American sports? Let's have sports, just sports. If you don't
I'll
want to
tell you,
watch baseball, don't watch it.
I would
You
rather
know.
watch, and I think the numbers would bear this out too. I'd rather watch Bryson DeChambeau try to hit a hole in one over his
Yes.
house for an hour straight
Yes.
than the
Right.
TGL.
I would too. I would too. but I don't know. It's insane right now. It's insane. But by the way, gentlemen, how does it feel right here at SKOR North 1500 AM to have the hottest sports product in town, the St. Thomas men's basketball team? People are
Hell yeah.
fawning over that after watching it. The ball movement, not running over and setting big screens against people, but just ball movement, shooting it. And they're going to have the new gym next year with 5,000 people. And, it's the perfect size for modern college basketball, too, 5,500 or whatever it is. But they were fun to watch the other day. That was, and everybody giving great publicity to them. Finchie was there feeling bad that his team doesn't move the ball around like that especially when they got Julius on the court. So anyway,
Finchie was mad that both coaches were playing a bunch of young players. Like, oh,
yes,
what's going on out here?
yes, yeah. Let's get some wily veterans to say the least. So
Hey,
anyway,
big road win last night for our
yeah,
Gophers, by the way, at Penn
20.
State. Let's go.
21 points at
comeback.
halftime. I didn't
Yep.
watch much of the first half, but this guard who's hadn't scored in 4 games, the kid all of a sudden he got 14 points for him, and they looked okay down the stretch. And I don't, we pretty much were burying Ben on the other day, but yeah, they're they're now back in the tournament hunt, and meaning the Big Ten tournament. Finish the top 15.
Yeah.
We made the tournament. Well, not that tournament. The
They
Big
just
Ten
made the conference tournament.
We made the
We're thrilled by
conference
that.
tournament. Yeah, it's
Here's what's crazy, you guys. They're only a game and a half out of the 8th seed right now in the Big Ten, because Oregon's 5-6, tied with Ohio State and USC.
Yeah, Big Ten's not good.
There's a
Actually.
couple more wins. You could climb this ladder.
The Big Ten women's basketball. I heard the other day. I watched a little of the Gophers and then the Iowa game, Southern Cal. They right now whoever does the projections for the tournament has 13 Big Ten women's teams in the tournament. If they put 5 men's teams in, they'll be being too kind to them. They'll put more than that in because it's the Big Ten. But the Big Ten men's field is the women's product is way better than the men's as far as its sport concerned.
Hey, Patrick, why in the loss to Washington on Saturday, why did Asamoah not play in the second half?
Ben, I don't know if he forgot.
I mean, the kid
I
was
don't
playing
know.
fine, and he's a good player.
He said, "I wanted to stick with the veterans." He was their best player the first half.
Yeah, I know.
14 minutes, made
yeah.
some plays. I don't know. There was no. I was there. There was no sensible explanation for why he didn't play, except
It was Finchie like.
he said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, we got back in the game, and I wanted to roll with the veterans." Well, they weren't doing anything, And this, by the way, you want this kid to go? If you stick around, you want this kid to go in the portal too? Because why don't you play him? I don't know. There was no reasonable explanation. It was almost like, damn it, I forgot I had him when they were fading down the stretch. I have no idea. There was no reasonable explanation for it. 'Cause when this season started, I figured by the middle of the season he'll be the starting point guard running things as you try to look ahead here, and because he's good. He's not great, but he's tough. Plays defense. He'll go to the basket. He'll guard people, guard the hell out of them. It was unexplainable. It was probably one of the major screw ups in a career that's had a few of them here for Coach Johnson. But speaking of which, Judd and I mentioned this the other day, though. But Patino Senior last night beat Marquette, right, with St. John's.
Mm-hmm.
And Patino Jr. is what, 10-1 in the Mountain West or something like that?
Doing great.
I don't know here. There's, you know, I I called someone today and suggested they get a hold of Richard and do a column because I don't think I'm the source for that. Just call up and say, "Hey, Richard, how you doing down there?" After saluting you out of town. I mean, I'm not saying I had anything to do with it, but I wasn't exactly. Last time I saw him at one of his last year here, he said, he looked at me like, "Why are you here? To shovel dirt on me?" He didn't say that, but that's the way he looked. And I said, "No,
Yeah.
I'm just covering a game here.
He was, yeah. I mean,
I was, I was, I don't want to say unfair, but I might have been overly harsh on Richard. So
yeah. He always kind of he was taken aback after a couple of years in. Like once he got a lay of the
yeah,
landscape of the
yeah,
fans and the media, he was taken aback by the expectations that we all have for the
yes,
Minnesota Gophers basketball program.
mhm,
And like, in his mind, I'm taking over nationally a completely irrelevant program
yes,
that has been to one Final Four in generations that we had to strip the banner down. And you guys are mad that like I miss the NCAA tournament every other year. What is
yes.
wrong with that? Was kind of the thought that he had.
If he could only, the next coach, the guy that comes in the middle of, let's say, 2030, most of us who remember Mussy and even Clem, we're going to be dead. We're not going to be around. The crowd, 50% of the crowd you see there now is going to be dead in 6 years, right? We're old. They're old people. The people who remember the full barn bursting. Oh, and I love the barn. Yeah, that was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
It's a dump. And and even Clem back then when he was filling it would say how tough it is when you get a summer recruit in there and that place is empty and they look around and say, "Yeah, okay, well, I'll let you know, coach." you
Yeah.
know?
I mean, think about in your life. Like, I remember when I was a kid, I was born in the mid 80s. And when I was a
Yeah,
kid in the 90s, and my dad would talk about the old baseball players from, he's a Cubs fan,
yeah,
Ernie
yeah,
Banks. And I'd be thinking, yeah, that's like 30 years ago.
yeah, that's right.
That's the timeline for the Gophers' last relevance,
Yes,
really. I mean, they've
yes, it
been to the
is.
tournament a few times, but
Yeah, well,
yeah.
the day that the Pioneer Press broke the academic fraud story was the end. That was basically the end. I mean, we got Tubby and we cheered Tubby, 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 and he won a couple of games. But we got the going downhill Tubby, and we did. I gotta say though, we had a lot of guts to fire Tubby. that took a lot of that took a lot of gonads to fire Tubby, didn't it? Considering
Did we
the
fire
program
him
you were running
after he won
after he
a
won
tournament
a
game?
tournament
Yeah,
game. Yeah,
That's
they came
right.
home and
yeah,
they fired and Teague. But the problem is, Norwood thought he had all these
yes.
guys lined up, and poor
Oh,
Richard was like his eighth choice by the
Shaka.
end.
Shaka was
Yeah,
going to hitchhike here to get the job. He would have been so happy to get this job. Wasn't he? What was it? Virginia Common? Who did he take to the tournament that was
yeah,
the hot ticket? Virginia
VCU.
Commonwealth? VCU. And we were going to get him. And he said, no, thank you. And where did he go the first time? He didn't go
Texas eventually.
right away. Yeah, Texas
Yeah,
eventually. But
and now he's at
yeah,
Marquette.
well, the legend on Richard getting hired is he finally, like the sixth guy he's tried to hire is the guy at Florida Gulf Coast who went to Southern Cal. And now he's somewhere.
Andy Enfield,
Andy
right?
Enfield,
Where's
who
he
had the
now?
good. We all remember Andy because he had the beauty queen wife, who'd won Miss Florida or some damn thing. But he got turned down by him. And that's what he allegedly called up Billy Donovan in Florida and said, "Who you got for me?" And Billy said, "Well, Richard had a good, young Richard. He's a kid, but he had a pretty good year. So, and that's how we hired
The
Richard.
college basketball hiring process is hilariously predictable in that if you take a double-digit seeded team
Yes,
and win a game in the
yes,
NCAA tournament because your opponent couldn't make a three-pointer for two
yes,
hours, like
right.
you get $5 million a year and a new job. Or if you take a directional school from Florida as a 31-year-old,
Yes.
and win some games, like, boom, you're hired. Here's $5 million.
Yeah, that's
It's
it. That
crazy.
is. It's always the guy the guy. If you, okay, Clem. This is my example of Clem the first time when they got to the Sweet 16 against Duke. He beat a mediocre Kansas State team as an 11 seed. They were six, but they were not very good. And then Siena beat Stanford, so he beat a 14 seed to get to the Sweet 16. Well, if that happens with a guy, as you say, that's not in a major program, he gets hired the next year. Somebody that
100%.
we got to get the guy from Butler. That's and yeah, which is now run the Celtics. But yeah, it is weird how they just everybody jumps. They're just hoping when they hire guys, but uh, there's 362 of these teams now. We got to
It's
do
crazy.
something. We got to call them out of there. Come on, let's have.
Division One, man. Isn't it
Yeah,
kind of crazy
we
that,
need FCS in basketball. That's what we need. You
yeah,
know.
but it's hilarious because you turn on like that St. Thomas game against NDSU was on CBS Sports Network,
Yes.
like the
Yeah.
subsidiary of CBS,
Yes.
and they carry what is that the Summit League, right? And
Yeah.
they carry all, and these gyms have 1,500. Some of these gyms
Yeah.
that is the same competition. When you watch a Duke game,
Yes.
those
Correct.
teams are in the same division of college basketball, not the same
Yeah,
conference,
and
but they're
there's no anybody who wants to move up can apparently. It's yeah, it's goofy, and we all we love the first weekend of the big dance and all that because three of these 35 teams that shouldn't be in the tournament win, right? By the way, did you read? We had a pretty good story today about how today's signing date, right? But how the transfer portal is killing some of these guys that they'd rather go to the portal than get high school freshmen. And all of a
yeah,
sudden,
Can't
all
blame
the
them.
there's Division One mediocre schools want these players, but they get a chance to get the guy out of Washington State takes 17 guys from South Dakota State with him. So if he had any offers there, they're all taking the portal guys instead of high school. And you want to know why Richard Pitino's been successful in New Mexico? Because he avoids high school freshmen.
yeah.
He pounds the portal every year. He turned his team over again with portal guys. Mashburn left. Mashburn's still playing.
That's crazy.
Mashburn's still playing.
Yeah,
He's
because
damn
he
near as
was a
old as
recruit.
Parker Fox.
Yeah, Parker Fox. We got to get Parker Fox a ninth year of eligibility. Let's
That's
let's let's
right.
make it happen here.
Yeah, I think
And
if he
maybe,
just asked for it, they'd give it to him. What the
yeah.
hell?
So, all right, Pat. Well, we'll start planning the Selection Sunday party here for the drama to see if the Gophers can get to the Big Ten tournament. We'll plan
Yes,
that for a
that would
couple
be
weeks.
great.
SKOR.
I was I was happy to see Ben win. I like him. He's okay, but I don't like his odds. Let's say
Yep.
that. All right, gents.
All right, Pat. We'll see you
See
on
ya.
Friday.
All
Reusse
righty.
Unchained. SKOR North.